Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Pure Property Podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about why Liverpool could be the best place to invest in the UK right now. Well, we talk about Liverpool quite a lot on a day-to-day basis, don't we, Matt?
Yeah, partly because you are a Liverpool fan, so
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not going to talk about
that
them
helps.
right now. And I mean, look, it's a sad moment for us Liverpool fans. You know, Klopp's gone. That was a sad day.
You know what? As I'm not a Liverpool fan. I'm very fond of Liverpool actually as a football club, purely actually because of Klopp. I liked what he's done. I like him as a person. So I think, even for I guess you could say someone who doesn't support them looking at it, I could feel your pain if that helps in any way, shape or form.
What you're saying is you're a secret Liverpool supporter.
No. I do like Liverpool as a club though.
Okay, well, I better take
good
that
football club and an amazing area which we'll dive into in a second.
I better take that shirt back that I got you then.
Okay.
Sorry? Yeah. Well, look, okay. So, look, yeah, it's all good saying, you know, Liverpool could be one of the best places to invest in the UK. But so why? Why do we say that? And why is it something that we talk a lot about? I think, firstly, let's talk about the economic growth that has been going on and that has been evident in Liverpool. Now, it's been incredible, some of the stats. I think I've got one of the stats I've got here, which I pulled off that a recent study named Liverpool as the UK's fastest growing city economy.
Wow.
Where that's seen a growth rate of 20%. And that's, I mean, you've got logistics, software development and business support services and sectors going in there. So as the fastest growing city, says here that Liverpool, so this is a great stat, is developing 5 times faster than London, which that London has a growth rate of about 4.1%.
Really good to hear.
5 times faster than London. So in terms of the figures there, that's massive for the economy.
Great.
And look, we know the economy being strong is good, and part of the economy, we look at employment, and it has higher than average unemployment. So this is it's high. It has very high employment rates. So the employment in Liverpool is good, and investment flows as well. So it's got, well, we can see PLLMP.
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously, for people that are not familiar with the Peel LNP group, there's someone who's delivered in Manchester and have already performed, I would say, in the Northwest, in Media City and developing that, which has been amazing. So they're now obviously developing £5.5 billion worth of investment on the Liverpool waterfront. Yeah, with the likes of, obviously, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, Everton's new stadium, the ferry terminal, lots of businesses and restaurants, and that's obviously developing as we speak and is very, very exciting. I think it's a good amount of time for that master plan to be happening. But it's good to see that Liverpool, the waterfront, especially, I think it's quite historic as well, that area. Yeah. So it's good to see it's getting the attention it deserves. Yeah,
exactly. So we've got public and private funds, £1 billion being sort of flowed into Liverpool, into the Liverpool economy. You've got the growth of the tourist sector. So you've got another good stat here is pre-pandemic data. So that's obviously pre-pandemic, of course, showed that tourism contributed to around £3.3 billion annually to the local economy in Liverpool, with millions of visitors each year.
You know what I saw on that as well recently is I saw an article, funny enough, by Liverpool Echo, which you may have seen it, stating about the visits to Liverpool has actually been more in demand than the likes of Manchester and York, which are obviously 2 very strong locations for short-term let demand. So it's really good to hear that Liverpool has got that kind of, I guess, pull. And this is, I'd say, still in the infancy stages. There's still a lot more to come.
Yeah, I mean, look, tourism is going to be boosted. You've got the Everton Stadium, which is going to host the Euros.
Amazing. Commercial events there as well, not just football, which obviously you've got 2 Premier League teams in the Liverpool region as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of that tourism, that's going to be great. You also now got mean, a form of tourism. You've got Box Park now open up. So the first one outside of London
we've seen a lot of them in London, haven't we? So
so that's really good positive sign to see. So all those factors there just show sort of the growth that we're seeing in Liverpool's economy, which is why we've highlighted it as
you said there. It's going to be attracting businesses in general and opportunities, and if they think it's going to work there, they're going to move there and having at least a office set up there, which is only going to strengthen the economy and the infrastructure there as well.
Yeah, so then obviously the economy helps with the property market. So now looking at the property market trends, looking at some of the data. So data from Land Registry shows that over the last 5 years, just the Liverpool city centre alone has grown sort of 22% in property prices, over the 5 years, which is great. And also then in April, the latest report from the ONS, Office of National Statistics, has stated that rental prices increased year on year by 8.7%.
Wow.
So not too far off 10% there. So we're seeing property price growth, and we're also seeing the rental prices surging up there as well. And following on from that, the trend. So that's trends we're seeing upward within the property market, and like a little side road off of that, which obviously helps to see the future growth that we are forecasting, is we're still looking at, so rents, for example, the rented affordability in Liverpool is good. So it's lower than Manchester. So the rented affordability so this data comes from the Home Check report, which is done quarterly, and the latest for Liverpool rented affordability was 20.6%. So what that looks at is how much of a single person's earnings do they need to spend on rent to be able to live there.
That's really positive,
so 20.6% is all a percentage of their earnings they need to spend on rent, whereas in Manchester is, if I've got the data right, 27.5%. So there's a gap there. So again, we're always looking at, well, how can it move? How can it grow? Well, look, we can see it's still behind Manchester, still cheaper than Manchester. So therefore, we can see that there's potential room for growth there. With the sort of money that's coming in, all the sort of boosting the economy, bringing people in, hopefully that's going to bring sort of more high-end jobs into the area, which then obviously means that there's room for more growth in terms of the rental prices, and also if it's affordable in general for property prices as well.
Absolutely. I think, as you said, the affordability levels are very strong there, and you can probably see why. I know of many people as well that have moved from the likes of London to the likes of Manchester or even Liverpool because of that affordability level. Cost of living nowadays. I know in London it's very easy for your full wage to go on your rent, especially if you're living in the central parts. That's
scary. Another trend, it's a landlord's market at the moment. So more data that we pulled off shows the turnover per calendar month is at 68% of stock. So that's the current stock turnover is at 68%. So high demand, which means rents are obviously likely to go up.
Yep.
And another trend in the property market we're seeing in Liverpool, one that you'll know about, is the short let market as well. That's definitely becoming more popular.
Massive. I think we've seen with the likes of, I think that's become such a kind of increase over the past couple of years of how popular that route has been. Being able to rent it out on sites like Airbnb and Booking.com and charging on a nightly rate rather than your standard AST long-term kind of contracts with a particular tenant. So I think, as you said, Toby, there, you've got the affordability levels and loads of elements to it which make it much more attractive.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Really, really good to hear.
Yeah, so that's the trends in the property market, which we're seeing as very, very positive. So you've got the economy, you've got the trends in the property market. Now, let's look at the connectivity of Liverpool. Like, how is this connected up to the rest of the UK and with its sort of nearby cities? So first you've got the M62, which is the motorway, links up to Manchester, also links Liverpool up to the likes of Leeds as well, and Hull being another location. You've got also, if we look at trains, so did you do the train journey to Liverpool last time?
I've been there many times. Yeah, Liverpool Lime Street is obviously your main train station from London. Is it Euston?
So you're looking around sort of 2 hours on the train. So I think it's about 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5, I'd say. I remember being it last time, which is still incredible.
I mean, believe last time I did Manchester was similar, if I remember correctly.
They're similar
Not
from
too
what
far,
I remember as well.
So again, the sort of the commuting on the train is relatively easy. So it's like 2.5 hours. I mean, some people commuting to London in about an hour and a half, and they'll
exactly.
Yeah, and so again that shows that, and also you've got Liverpool to Manchester. That could be anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes.
I know some people that even commute. We know some people that work in Manchester and they'll travel down to Liverpool for their work now and again. So
exactly,
and it's not a problem because of the connectivity. Is still, like, I know we kind of mentioned HS2 and could that affect the north and the south, but the connectivity is still very, very good in that sense.
Exactly that. So those trains are great. Connectivity wise, you've got Liverpool John Lennon Airport. So that's, you know, both domestic and non-domestic flights. So it really got, again, part of the fundamentals we look at: economy, obviously the property market, supply and demand, you know, where the demand's high there. And then we look at the sort of logistics, infrastructure and connectivity. That's definitely a massive tick for Liverpool, which is great. And that's only improving with all the regeneration that's going on in the city. So the inner workings and logistics are going to be great. So it's exciting to see. And then another factor why Liverpool's a big draw and a great investment location is the educational institutions, so the universities there, as we know, which are popular for people studying. You've got the University of Liverpool, you've got John Moores University, and there's the Liverpool Hope University as well. So, and there's 7. That's just like 3 of the main ones, and we're always getting sort of a lot of overseas people studying sort of inquire about properties in Liverpool to buy for their son or daughter to stay in when they're going to be studying here. You know, they're anticipating, well, my son or daughter will be coming there in a year or 2. I'd like to get in and buy a property now, ready for when they come. So, you know, I know where they'll be staying, and I know it's going to be safe and secure, which is quite interesting. And
definitely.
What does, you know, good universities usually lead on to, Matt?
Good retention rates.
Exactly. So if you've got good university in a great city, postgraduate retention rates are going to be good. We know Liverpool has strong postgrad retention rates. So, you know, they're going to be going into work in the local area, and then they're going to be wanting to rent and buy homes in there. So that in turn massively helps the property market.
Massively does, for sure.
The culture, you know, Liverpool's really got sort of a great, vibrant cultural scene now. You know, you've got the birthplace of the Beatles being there,
which is massive in Liverpool for sure.
Yeah, you've got sort of museums, sort of arts, theatres.
Oasis.
Sorry?
Oasis in Manchester.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're talking about Liverpool. I can't believe
nearby.
you just... Did you actually just think
Oasis nearby?
It's not.
Manchester.
I mean, it's Manchester, but if you try saying... You say that to the Gallaghers.
No, but the Beatles versus Oasis, who wins in your eyes?
What, a fight?
No.
I was going to say, because...
Songs.
Well, for my generation, it's going to be Oasis.
Yeah, it would
Has to be. But the Beatles are legendary.
They are. And in Liverpool, everyone loves them.
Yeah, rightly so. But you've got theatres. Paddy the Baddie.
Got some UFC big names that have come out there, which has been great.
Molly Meatball. Yeah.
She actually was in one of the new developments.
She rents one of the developments that
we knew about.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good point, actually.
What's the soaps that are there as well?
Well, stay there.
Is it Hollyoaks?
Hollyoaks. I'm pretty sure Hollyoaks. No, Hollyoaks does have people staying there. I mean, it's not even... I don't think it's... Because Hollyoaks might be Cheshire. So it's not too far.
Too far, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but they stay there. Yeah, it's a good point. You've got music venues, obviously. Culturally now, obviously, you could probably put the Everton new stadium in there, because like you said, you're going to be bringing different events there and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. And then another, we've spoken about in a recent episode in terms of regeneration and how it's good for property investments. But the regeneration in Liverpool, Matt, like you talk about all the time.
7.5 billion in total, roughly being spent.
7.5 billion.
I was going to say, actually, on the waterfront, which we forgot to mention, I know as well we talked about infrastructure and connectivity.
Yeah.
At Everton's new stadium, I know they're also looking to implement a new station there as well,
to
be able to then lead that into the... I mean, you could probably walk there. It's not too far on the waterfront, but the fact of they are looking also to set up a new...
interesting.
Overline kind of tram that gets you into the city centre in short enough time. So there's loads of investment fundamentals that I think as a whole yeah, it just makes it so exciting. I mean, Liverpool Waters is something that we've always been excited about, and I think that's carried a lot of, I guess, investors maybe from the likes of Manchester, where they've seen the growth already and it's still happening there, but they may be looking at Liverpool like, wow, this looks familiar. A couple of years ago, this is where parts of Manchester was. And I think especially with the Peel LNP group and what they've done to now come over to Liverpool and essentially look to, I always say, kind of like copy and paste what they've done there.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? What's it done for Manchester? Amazing thing. So what do you think it's going to do for Liverpool?
Yeah, no, I agree.
It should be, positive signs.
I mean, you mentioned obviously the new Everton Stadium, part of the Liverpool Waters regeneration as well. You've got Knowledge Quarter, the 1 billion regeneration that there. And also, I mean, look, it's the other side of the river, but you've got the Wirral £1 billion pound regeneration, Peel LNP again, all the waters there. So there's lots going on there, and it's a big fundamental factor that we're looking at when we're looking at great property investment opportunities, and we can clearly see that in Liverpool for sure.
Well, as well, I was going to say lastly as well about obviously Savills have come in with a new update, haven't they, recently?
Yes,
and having increased the Northwest.
They've upgraded it, yep.
Moving up to, I think it's just over 28%. I think it's 28.8% of capital growth expected in the Northwest over the next 4 years. So to have the likes of that increased, plus buying in Liverpool in general with all of its regeneration going on. Yeah. I think if you're an investor, I think that's a little bit of gold dust there to kind of look into, especially with, I think, Savills have always, normally I think they were quite conservative with the figures beforehand, but now it's amazing to see that, you know what, they're like, we see what's going on here. This is something that we believe as well. They're predicting 28.8%, which is incredible.
I mean, if only they listened to us when they're all being naysayers.
Well, that's what they did. They've obviously listened to the podcast.
We've been saying that people can listen back to the podcast and see we've always stayed strong, stayed firm, and if only they'd listened to us in the first place. Nah, I mean, we can't all get it right. But yeah, I mean, look, talking about, we've mentioned the economy. Sorry to blow our own trumpets like that. We're only joking. But talking about we spoke about the economy, but also another stat that I saw is like the business environment that's now being brought to Liverpool. So the reason I say that is there was a 7.1 increase on the number of new company formations in Merseyside alone, which is really, really good to see. And, the city, that now brings the number of registered companies in the city's region to an all-time high of just shy of 84,000. So, there's people clearly wanting to do business there. Another thing we can look at is the cost of living. So the cost of living in Liverpool, when we mentioned it about the rental affordability, but the cost in living in general, so it's slightly cheaper than Manchester to live in. And when we're talking about cost of living, we're talking about, your rentals, going out for something to eat. Groceries, I think, if I remember from the stats and data I looked at, aren't pretty thereabouts. But the rental factor in Liverpool really brought it down compared to Manchester in terms of cost of living. And then one of the comparisons I looked at was against London, and it was, the difference was massive. Like, you look to the price, I think the average cost of a meal per person, standard, if you were to go out and grab something, in Liverpool was £10. In London, it was £15. And I can't remember the rental. The rental figures was like, I think Liverpool was sub £1,000, or maybe around 1,000, and London was over double. It was crazy. So in terms of that, cost of living is good. Now look, why do we talk about the cost of living, Matt, when we're looking at it as an investment point of view?
I think in terms of, you've got to think of it for the rental side of things and the tenant demand and how that's going to affect them. Because all in all, it's also, I think I've just said it then, I think a major reason why the cost of living was a major benefit to maybe a lot of Londoners relocating and moving maybe to the likes of Liverpool and Manchester is, number one, the cost of living because of the affordability level. So I think it massively can affect the tenant demand and also demographic as well.
Yeah, for sure. And also, when we look at affordability it also means they're less susceptible to changes in the economy, like other locations, like we've seen in the south. The south, in terms of the Bank of England having to rise the interest rates, the cost of living going up in general, that's really put a dampener on the property market in the south, because they haven't got the affordability. Exactly, they can't afford as much anymore to pay the high prices for buying property and also for renting property, and that's put sort of the brakes on the property markets there. Where we look at Liverpool, where it is more affordable, they're not as susceptible to that, because a slight sort of increase in the cost of living, or maybe the interest rates like we saw, yes, it's obviously not ideal for them, and it does hurt their pocket, but they've got a bigger chunk of affordability there, which can kind of be eaten into a bit, so they haven't been as effective, and that's why we've seen stronger markets, not only Liverpool but the northwest and the north of England in general. They've still been performing fairly positively, sorry, and that's, you know, coming down to the affordability levels, which I think is obviously something that we do factor in also when we're looking at investments. So look, overall, everything we just spoke about is part of why we're talking about Liverpool, that it could be one of the best places right now to invest in the UK.
Would you invest into Liverpool, Toby?
Yes, I am investing in Liverpool's the short answer. Would you invest?
I have.
Yes, and you are. Yeah, exactly.
Just in terms of that, because I generally think it's, everyone can talk about things, but in terms of you're actually doing it, I think is a very different story. So I think for people listening, it's good to hear that essentially we are not just talking about why it's good and just saying that we think it's good, and if we had the money we'd buy, we actually are.
We are. I mean, I wish I'd actually done it a bit sooner in all fairness, but I was obviously focusing on Leeds at the time, and I like Leeds as a city.
Leeds has done well.
Yeah, very, very well. But a few years ago, I was like, oh, you know, I should have gone Liverpool then, but I'm going now. As I said,
Leeds.
No, I do love Leeds, but no, Liverpool's great location, and hence why I'm investing there, and I believe it's one that will definitely do well over the long term. Everything's got going on, and it's very early on in everything going on as
sure.
well.
There's still loads of growth to happen.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like the regeneration's just starting.
I think some people think, don't they, in terms of when they've either come into it and they know that the price has already risen a certain amount, they're like, am I coming in on the back end? Is it still worth getting in here? And 100%.
Yeah, I think definitely it's still a great time to get in. There's definitely legs in the property market in Liverpool, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go. I mean, it's going to be transformed over the next 5-10 years at the least, with everything going on there. And I'm really excited to be there for the journey.
Up the Liverpool.
Yeah, up the Liverpool. Right. Hope that's been another insightful episode for you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Take care.